So, in putting together information about trafficking, one of the things that we did not want to leave out was some reference to the connection between trafficking and the experience of being a refugee. And it, we've included 5 slides in the packet that relate to some facts about refugee experience, as well as summaries of some of the research that was done for the Move for Change program and the program itself. But what I want to look at for a few minutes here is that when we're talking about people who have been trafficked, some of them may have obtained refugee status, potentially through the use of falsified documents, and others may be seeking refugee status because it's dangerous for them to even try to return to their families once they are no longer being trafficked. And some of the reasons that trafficking survivors may become refugees include the fear of persecution, which unfortunately in many countries, including our own, as that article in the Post referenced, the individuals who've been trafficked can also end up being imprisoned as guilty parties in the eyes of the government. So some people may be seeking refugee status in order to protect themselves and their families. Then there are individuals who've been trafficked and are extremely vulnerable, and vulnerable both in terms of their circumstances, extremely vulnerable to be engaged in being trafficked again. And so they might seek refugee status. There are also people who discover that they aren't in a country legally, and although they may have thought they were coming into it, and so then they may reach out to see if they can obtain the status. And finally, another rationale is that survivors also end up falling into what might be thought of as marginalized populations, and they can be targets for all different kinds of abuse and exploitation. And so they may seek refugee status in order to get the legal recognition that they need to get access to services. So I think that it's just important to not only maintain an awareness of some of these dynamics at play, but also when doing assessments, and this is a question that sometimes has to be approached with a great deal of caution, um, is to get an idea of whether the person you're talking with is in the country legally. So I think I would avoid asking questions like, "Are you legal in this country?" But rather talk about what is their understanding of the legal requirements for being in a country. And perhaps in that conversation, you can begin to communicate that you are there to help them gain access to what they need and not another potential person who may report them to authorities that will get them in trouble. So just another additional piece of information to consider when you're thinking about all of what's involved in the experience of trafficking.